The 4-Hour Body by Timothy Ferriss. Important keys. 1. The Billionaire Productivity Secret and the Experimental Lifestyle. In his own unique way, Richard Branson shared his insights about enhancing productivity at a gathering hosted by Joe Polish, an esteemed marketer. The session aimed to explore growth strategies for Branson's charitable endeavor, Virgin Unite, a project among his multitude of enterprises under Virgin Group. To put his success into perspective, Branson's personal empire surpasses the GDP of some emerging nations. His answer to boosting productivity was simple and unexpected: work out. He insisted that physical exercise granted him an additional 4 hours of productivity each day, a claim accentuated by the gentle island breeze. This anecdote leads into the introduction of a book called The 4-Hour Body, 4HB, which is more than a guide. It's a revolutionary shift in how we perceive our lives, promoting an experimental approach. The benefits extend well beyond the physical, providing a fundamental understanding of the scientific rules that allow you to redesign your body, these rules being reliable and trustworthy allies. But this book isn't an exhaustive examination of the human body. It's an exploration of what the author, Tim Ferriss, refers to as the 2.5% that delivers 95% of the results in rapid body transformation and performance enhancement. While this might not be as helpful for those in the top 1% of human physical ability, for the other 99% seeking considerable progress in a short time frame, this book offers compelling insights. 2. The minimum effective dose delivers the most dramatic results in the least amount of time. The concept of the minimum effective dose, MED, refers to the least amount of effort that will yield the desired outcome. Any effort exceeding the MED is superfluous and inefficient. Consider the act of boiling water. The MED is achieving a temperature of 212 degrees Fahrenheit, 100 degrees Celsius, at standard air pressure. Any temperature beyond this is unnecessary. Water can't be more boiled. Excessive heat simply wastes energy that could be utilized elsewhere more productively. In the realm of body modification, there are 2 essential MEDs to remember. Asterisk to shed stored fat. The minimum needed to trigger a specific hormone cascade that promotes fat loss should be done. Asterisk to build muscle. Whether in small or large amounts, the least required to activate local, specific muscles, and systemic, hormonal, growth mechanisms should be done. These processes can be initiated with surprisingly minimal effort. Avoid overcomplication. For example, to stimulate growth in a muscle group like the shoulders, about 80 seconds of tension using a 50-pound weight once a week may be all that's necessary. More isn't always better. Your main challenge might be to refrain from doing more. This principle applies to other areas too. For instance, if you need 15 minutes of sun exposure to start the melanin production for tanning, that is your MED. Exceeding 15 minutes only risks burns and unnecessary time off from the beach. Meanwhile, another person sticking to their 15-minute MED can get 4 additional tanning sessions, thereby achieving a darker tan, while you are back to your pre-beach color. For the same muscle group example, the 80 seconds of tension triggers complex biological responses, including the activation of transcription factors and prostaglandins. But you don't need to understand the specifics of these biological processes to benefit from them, just like you don't need to know how radiation works to use a microwave. It's enough to understand the basics. In this case, the 80-second target. Following a common workout routine from a magazine, like 5 sets of 10 repetitions, when your MED is 80 seconds can be counterproductive, much like staying in the sun for an hour when your MED for tanning is 15 minutes. Such actions not only waste time and energy but could also hinder progress. Your body's repair mechanisms have limitations that your eagerness may not consider. Remember, more is not necessarily better, and the greatest challenge is often doing less. The MED approach offers significant results in the least amount of time. As a final thought, remember that understanding and evaluating anything requires the ability to measure it. 3. Why a calorie isn't a calorie. The assertion that all calories are equal may seem logical on the surface, but a more practical exploration of the topic reveals the reality isn't quite so straightforward. Consider two hypothetical scenarios. Scenario number 1. Identical twin males follow an identical diet for 30 days, with one key difference. One twin recently completed a potent antibiotics course, which depleted his gut bacteria essential for full digestion. Will the outcome be the same in terms of body composition? No, it won't. Scenario number 2. 3 women of the same age, race, and body composition each consume 2,000 calories daily for a month. However, the source of calories varies. The first woman consumes only table sugar, the second only lean chicken breast, and the third only mayonnaise. Will their body composition outcomes be the same? Again, no. Multiple scientific studies support the conclusion that not all calories are metabolically equal. For example, a study by Kekwak and Pawan compared the effects of calorically identical diets composed of 90% fat, 90% protein, or 90% carbohydrates. Though it was challenging to maintain compliance, the outcomes differed significantly. Consuming 1,000 calories composed of 90% fat led to a daily weight loss of 0.9 pounds. Consuming 1,000 calories made up of 90% protein resulted in a daily weight loss of 0.6 pounds. Eating 1,000 calories composed of 90% carbohydrates resulted in a daily weight gain of 0.24 pounds. This shows that calorie intake is not the only determining factor for weight management. Digestion, macronutrient ratio, protein, carbohydrates, and fat, and timing also play crucial roles in influencing fat loss and muscle gain. Here's an interesting fact: cellulite is simply fat. It isn't a special kind of fat, nor is it a disease or a problem exclusive to women without solutions. It can be reduced or eliminated with the right approach. 4. How to lose 20 pounds in 30 days without exercise. Achieving a 20-pound weight loss in 30 days is feasible by optimizing one or more of the following factors: physical activity, dietary habits, or a regimen of drugs, supplements. Losing this much weight can lead to a noticeable decrease in clothing size, like going from a size 14 dress to a size 10 or an XXL shirt to a large. The changes in waist and hip measurements are even more significant. All it takes is adhering to 5 simple guidelines. Firstly, stay away from white carbohydrates. This means foods like bread, rice, even brown rice, cereal, potatoes, pasta, tortillas, and breaded fried foods should be avoided unless consumed within 30 minutes of completing a resistance training workout. Secondly, successful dieters often consume the same meals repeatedly. Among the thousands of products in your average grocery store, only a few won't contribute to weight gain. Make your meals from the following list. Proteins. Choose from options like egg whites with 1–2 whole eggs for flavor, chicken breast or thigh, beef, preferably grass-fed, fish, or pork. Legumes. Lentils, black beans, pinto beans, red beans, and vegetables like asparagus, peas, broccoli, and green beans are excellent choices. You can consume as much of the above-mentioned foods as you want. However, variety isn't necessary. Choose 3 or 4 meals and keep repeating them. Most restaurants can replace fries, potatoes, or rice with salad or vegetables. The third rule is to drink plenty of water, unsweetened tea, coffee, limiting cream to 2 tablespoons, or other no-calorie or low-calorie beverages. Avoid milk, regular soft drinks, and fruit juice. Try to limit diet soft drinks to a maximum of 16 ounces per day. The fourth guideline is to limit fruit consumption. The exceptions to this rule are tomatoes and avocados, but even avocados should be eaten sparingly. Humans don't require fruit 6 days a week, and certainly not all year round. Finally, designate a day for indulgence, let's say Saturday. On this day, you can eat whatever you want without any restrictions. It's also worth noting that certain white foods are bleached using a chemical, chlorine dioxide, which can combine with residual protein in these foods to form alloxan. Alloxan is used in lab rats to induce diabetes, another reason to avoid white foods. 5. Damage control, preventing fat gain when you binge. Indulging in a holiday feast or a plate of butter cookies doesn't necessarily have to lead to guilt and weight gain. With some advanced planning and a grasp of some basic science, you can control the potential damage. Tim Ferriss, for example, eats as he pleases every Saturday and follows specific steps to limit fat gain during overeating. In simple terms, the aim is to get as much of the excess food either absorbed into muscle tissue or expelled from the body undigested. 3 principles can help achieve this. Principle number 1: limit the release of insulin, a hormone that promotes storage. To prevent sharp increases in blood sugar that stimulate insulin release, start the day with a meal rich in protein, at least 30 grams, and insoluble fiber. Legumes can provide this. This approach can reduce your appetite for the rest of the binge day and help prevent complete self-sabotage. Before your second meal, which will be your first indulgent meal, have a small amount of fructose, found in grapefruit juice. Fructose, even in small doses, can help keep blood glucose levels stable. Incorporate citric juices into your meals, such as lime juice in water or lemon juice on food. Principle number 2: speed up gastric emptying, the rate at which food leaves the stomach. During a binge, you actually want food to pass through your digestive system so quickly that it isn't fully absorbed. You can achieve this primarily with caffeine or yerba mate tea, which contains additional stimulants like the obromine, found in dark chocolate, and theophylline, found in green tea. Consume 100 to 200 milligrams of caffeine or 16 ounces of cooled yerba mate with your most indulgent meals. Principle number 3: incorporate brief muscle contractions throughout the binge. Perform exercises such as air squats, wall presses, or chest pulls with an elastic band during your binge. These exercises, which can be done by anyone and don't cause muscle damage, can be completed in 60–90 seconds just before eating and ideally about 90 minutes after. The reason for these exercises is they activate glucose transporter type 4, GLUT4, on muscle cells, creating more pathways for calories to enter the muscles. The more of these gates you open before insulin activates GLUT4 on fat cells, the more calories can be stored in muscle rather than fat. Think of this as a sort of protection policy for your body. 6. The microbiome, balancing bacteria for fat loss. The escalating obesity rates of recent decades might be linked to shifts in our gut bacteria, the microorganisms inhabiting our digestive tracts. Researchers have noticed that changes in these bacterial populations correlate with increased weight gain. There are 10 times as many bacterial cells as human cells in our bodies, equating to roughly 100 trillion bacteria compared to 10 trillion human cells. 2 predominant types of bacteria, Bacteroidetes and Firmicutes, have been identified as influential in fat absorption, irrespective of diet. Slim individuals have higher counts of Bacteroidetes and fewer Firmicutes, while overweight individuals show the opposite pattern. As overweight people lose weight, their gut bacteria proportions shift towards higher Bacteroidetes counts. This finding's significance led the National Institute of Health, NIH, to initiate the Human Microbiome Project in 2007, akin to the Human Genome Project but focused on bacteria. The project aims to understand the influence of the 40,000-plus bacteria species on our health and explore how we might manipulate them for better health outcomes. While we wait for more findings from this project, there are several steps you can take to promote healthy gut flora that assists in weight management. I avoid artificial sweeteners like Splenda. A 2008 Duke University study found that Splenda significantly reduced beneficial gut bacteria in rats, reinforcing that artificial sweeteners can be as harmful, if not more so, than real sugar. 2. Incorporate fermented foods. Renowned for his studies on traditional diets of disease-free indigenous communities, Dr. Weston Price discovered that daily consumption of fermented foods was a common practice. These foods are rich in beneficial bacteria and should be integral to your diet. 3. Explore probiotics and prebiotics. Probiotics are bacteria, while prebiotics are fermentable substrates that promote bacterial growth. Initial research suggests that a diet containing both could benefit allergies, aging, obesity, and various diseases, from AIDS to type 2 diabetes. For instance, a study on chronic fatigue syndrome patients found Lactobacillus casei strain Shirota significantly reduced anxiety symptoms. Probiotics, such as bifidobacteria, have also been suggested as a potential alternative treatment for depression due to their ability to inhibit inflammatory molecules, reduce oxidative stress, and prevent overgrowth of undesirable bacteria, thereby improving nutrient absorption in the gut. By improving your gut bacteria, you could expedite weight loss and improve mental health, among other benefits. 7. Steroids 101 – Fact versus Fiction. Many people might not realize that birth control drugs are technically classified as steroids, much like the cortisone shots that famed athletes such as Kurt Schilling and Andre Agassi have used for anti-inflammatory purposes. Steroids are vital for our survival, and if completely eliminated from our bodies, we would perish. Often, when people hear the term steroid, they think of anabolic androgenic steroids, AAS, or simply anabolic steroids. These are synthetic variants of testosterone or substances designed to replicate its effects. An example is nandrolone, a modified form of testosterone, altered to reduce its conversion to estrogen or DHT, thus minimizing its androgenic properties. This means it lessens secondary male characteristics like excessive hair growth or vocal cord thickening. The author, under strict medical supervision, has legally used low-dose anabolic steroids and other growth agents, primarily for post-surgical recovery. Regular blood tests were conducted to monitor for any complications. However, he doesn't endorse recreational or non-medically supervised use, especially considering that anabolic steroids are Class 3 controlled substances with severe penalties for illegal possession or trafficking. The author also disapproves of healthy children, adolescents, or women using these potent male hormones and supports disqualification of athletes who violate their sports rules. Nevertheless, these steroids are valuable drugs with genuine medical applications when used correctly. Thanks for watching.